Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from WhatCulture.
And I'm Andy Murray from WhatCulture, and coming up today, I'm going to tell you all about Wade Barrett returning to WWE programming this week. And on top of that, I've got the real reason that WWE have changed Keith Lee's entrance theme.
Plus, Cody is going to be taking an extended break from AEW. And how did TNT officials react to Dynamite's Saturday rating? This is the news.
We're going to kick things off by talking about Wade Barrett. He's back.
Yes.
He's back today. What the hell? Crazy. He's not wrestling or anything like that, but he's going to be
the leader
NXT.
of Retribution.
He is the leader of Retribution / Nexus Tribution. Shut up, Andrew. Wade Barrett's going to be doing NXT commentary tonight is the gist of this. The reports from Pro Wrestling Sheet's Ryan Satin. He's doing a special guest commentary spot. It's described as like a one-time deal. The 5-time Intercontinental Champion has not signed a contract for a full-time role within WWE, but it's still notable. This is his first appearance in WWE since May 2016. He was let go around about then. He'd informed the company in advance that he wasn't going to renew his contract, and he was kind of like beaten down and kicked out of the League of Nations for his right out. He took some time off and he returned to wrestling via WCPW in Defiant, of course. Did some commentary work, did some general manager stuff. He was in World of Sport, Lucha Underground, and then last December he replaced Jim Cornette as the color commentator on NWA Power. So he's been working this commentary bit for a while. He always does a really good role, I think, does a really good job across the board. So he'll be a cool addition on NXT tonight. He, of course, was... he won the first season of NXT, didn't he? Mm-hmm. He led the Nexus of all that stuff. Obviously, the initials NXT have great significance to him and his pro wrestling career. I'm looking forward to seeing him in the booth. We got the guest spot from Corey Graves at TakeOver this past week. Looks like maybe we'll see a few more of those. Who knows? But Wade's a good guy. Looking forward to see how he does.
Yeah, mixed emotions about this story. Obviously, dead excited to see Wade Barrett, Stu Bennett back in WWE, but also a little bit annoyed he didn't tell me about this, considering I am his best friend, and more importantly, he's mine. No, look, this is going to be great. As you mentioned, he did a lot of stuff for us in WCPW and Defiant. He's a lovely bloke. The nicest man, certainly up there for one of the nicest men in wrestling. He is sensational at commentary, in my opinion. I hope this leads to more stuff for him. I know, obviously, like you mentioned, he was doing all that other stuff. And he's, acting and doing loads of other things outside of wrestling as well. He's certainly forged his own career over there. But so excited to see him tonight in NXT. He looks like a great episode of NXT. All the fallout from TakeOver, plus Wade Barrett. Please don't let him be the leader of Retribution. I was only joking about that. That is not a curse anyone should have to bear. But can't wait for NXT tonight.
Yeah, should be a good show.
Talking about AEW, though, that is, of course, not happening tonight, but tomorrow night. Update your calendars. It's all over the shop for the next few weeks. I think it's back to normal next week, and then changes again in a few... I don't know. Anyway, regardless, talking of AEW, of course, they had the show on Saturday night. Cody losing the TNT Championship to Brody Lee in shocking fashion. And according to PW Insider, you will not be seeing Cody on AEW TV for quite some time. He's set to take an extended break off the back of that loss to Brody Lee. Nothing too serious to worry about. Kayfabe. He's basically selling the fact that he got, well, as you saw if you watched it on Saturday night, murdered by Brody Lee and subsequently by the Dark Order post-match. No word yet on when his return date is, but I think this is the right decision not to have Cody back there, 4-5 days later, 6 days later, after getting the crap beaten out of him. And yeah, just a nice change of pace, and I don't know, it'll add more fuel to Four Horsemen rumours and what have you, so I'm excited for this.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to cycle in and out every now and then, man, and Cody's been on TV pretty much every week. Understandably so. He's one of the most popular guys in the company, one of the biggest stars in the company. His push is entirely justified by those numbers and his popularity and so forth. So, yeah, he's just lost the TNT title. You got to sell the monster. You got to sell the beatdown, and that was one hell of a beatdown. So he'll go away for a couple of months. He'll come back fresh, rejuvenated, revitalized, new direction, new focus. Looking forward to seeing how that goes. But yeah, this was the right move. Absolutely, 100%.
No tattoos whilst you're away, Cody.
Yeah, no eagles on your face or anything like that. You silly sausage. Let's pivot over to WWE and speak about moves that are not good. Keith Lee's entrance music. Gonna tell you what Keith Lee thinks of what you think of him changing his entrance theme. He says, "Shut up, nerds!" Not really, but Keith Lee did tweet the following last night. He says, "Music is out of my hands, period. Leave it be. I'll sort it out later." This is referring to Raw, where he came out not to his usual entrance theme that he had in NXT, but butt rock. Just rubbish, not a good theme. Why did this happen? Why did WWE change the theme? We got the report here from Fightful Select saying that WWE have basically been going around everyone who has a theme from CFOs, who is the music group that used to compose WWE's themes up until a year or so ago, trying to convince them to change to something else because apparently a really terrible deal was signed that grants the publishers of these songs 50% of the royalties. So they're not making as much money from them, so they don't want them, so change over to the butt rock because we make more money from the butt rock, just like Nickelback and Creed have for entire careers, and they take it from there. A bunch of wrestlers have apparently said, "No, this new song sucks, I'm not changing to that," but Keith Lee was one of the guys who said, "Yeah, okay, cool, no worries." So it sounds from Keith Lee's tweet that this might change in the future, but for now, we are stuck with that theme.
Like, I feel so sorry for Keith Lee in all this. He's debuted on Monday Night Raw, and we've said things like WWE have botched his debut, and we were talking yesterday about how you already fixed Keith Lee on the main roster. It's not his fault. Like, he hasn't done a single thing wrong here. It is how WWE have handled him. They've given him that dodgy gear, because Vince has got a weird body thing going on. And yeah, they've just replaced his music. And like you say, it's understandable. If you want to change music because of some dodgy publishing deal or whatever, fine. But offer them an alternative that's, you know, at least as good as what they had. Not like you got some bloody work experience kid to knock it up in 5 minutes on sodding GarageBand. Like, I'm not surprised. If I was in that locker room and they were like, "Oh, you know that banging entrance theme you've got now? Yeah. Do you want this one?" No.
Yeah, have some power chords.
And also, oh, WWE, you must be so hard you're losing a slight bit of money. I realise it's exorbitant amounts of money, but for them, it's a drop in the ocean on some publishing deals. Like, how about you just take the hit? Take the hit, because we know these, like, wrestling themes are one of the, like, synonymous things. Like, even the most casual, not even casual wrestling fans, even the most casual person could tell you when Stone Cold Steve Austin's glass shatters what's going on, right? So just make some good themes. I mean, it's right there. Like, we talked about WCPW, we talked about Defiant. Like, we couldn't use loads of people's old music, and, you know, sometimes we used sort of knockoff versions, or sometimes we just created our own ones. But, like, the ones we created, I would sit next to, like, Chris in our office, who would help make trons and stuff for them. And if it was like a generic Jobber one, it sounded like a generic Jobber theme, because you didn't need to put too much effort in. This is Keith Sodding Lee. Some respect on that man's theme. Right, let's switch over back to... Sorry, I had a bit of a rant there. Let's switch over to Dynamite. The figures finally came out for Saturday Night Dynamite yesterday. Of course, delayed because of the weekend and what have you. Surprisingly good. Still around a quarter of a million? That's not good. 750,000. That's why I'm presenting on YouTube and not a mathematician. Yes, still around 750,000 for them. Slight dip, but considering it was on a completely different night, it was delayed by 30 odd minutes because of the NBA overrunning, and it was effectively therefore going head to head with TakeOver. Still very impressive. Good in the demos as well. I think TNT managed to score 3 of the top 5 rated cable shows that night. AEW finishing 5th, which is very good. And yes, WarnerMedia and TNT executives quote, "Extremely happy with how the show ended up performing." This is according to PW Insider. The usual stuff on Twitter yesterday. I was going to do it performatively. I'm just going to roll my eyes when I say that NXT fans were saying that they lost because NXT scored better and AEW. Why can't we just enjoy both, Andy Murray? God's sake.
Well, these people are idiots because AEW still had a higher number in the demo. So, you can't even make that stupid performative argument because it's nonsense. Yeah, people are dumb. Twitter discourse is a horrible, horrible thing, and you should never engage in it. But these are good numbers, and I'm glad the network are happy with them.
Yeah, that's the main thing. everything's... I'm not going to say everything's good in the world, because it definitely isn't.
No.
Let's move on to your Twitter questions. At WhatCulture WWE, of course, if you want to get in touch with us. First question today comes from Mike on the mic, who says, do you think WWE will hold a draft this year? And if they do, what do you think if Raw drafts Heavy Machinery and Otis cashes his Money in the Bank briefcase on the WWE Championship? Rumours of a draft this year, Andy. Do you reckon it's going to happen?
I think there'll be a draft. I think Heavy Machinery could well go to Raw, but it feels to me increasingly like Otis is going to use that thing to cash in on some tag team titles rather than a world title. Yes, I don't know, man. Like, since Money in the Bank especially, it kind of feels like Otis isn't really much of a thing. Obviously, he took some time off recently. He was off TV for several weeks, but he's just kind of like Mandy Rose's secondary character, and I think it's a really hard sell to give him the world title out of nowhere. I mean, if you're going to risk it, right, you're going to risk it in the empty arena era because no one's buying tickets and all that stuff. But, like, I don't know about a world title. I think a tag team title is more likely. He could do that on Raw.
I've got to disagree. I've got to think that they are holding off on this, leaving it as late as possible. So if they change their mind and want to make him world champion, they can do so with the crowd. I genuinely think that's what they're doing. I 100% can see him cashing in for tag titles, but I also want to give credit to WWE, whether intentionally or unintentionally, a lot of people have kind of forgotten about the fact that he's got a title opportunity just sitting there in his back pocket. I do hope there's a draft this year. I'm excited to see what happens with that and how things are mixed up and how the Fox robot celebrates signing Natalia or whoever it is?
Forgot about that robot.
But just, do a draft. Fine if you want to shift Otis to Monday nights. With the Universal Championship scene being as it is right now. I mean, you can't buy him cashing in on either The Fiend / Roman Reigns / Braun Strowman or Drew McIntyre, but who knows? But whatever you do, don't split Heavy Machinery just to be a dick. We know WWE does that quite regularly. Don't do it. Just don't. Okay, next question today comes from Mark Smith, who says, surely Strowman is only in the match at Payback to take the pin from The Fiend after he steals the win from Reigns, who's just bossed the whole match. Yes, this Sunday, Andy Murray, another WWE pay-per-view. How do you see it going down with that Universal Championship match?
I could absolutely see WWE just trolling everyone by having The Fiend lose the Universal Championship to Roman Reigns 7 days after the return. That's 100% something I could see them doing. However, I do agree with you. I think the most likely outcome is that Strowman takes the pin from The Fiend, and then, later you can kind of dovetail off into Roman versus The Fiend one-on-one if you want to do that.
I think Roman's going to win. I think you have to put the world title on him right now. I don't care if people say, you're putting him straight back at the top of the card. He hasn't been at the top of the card for 18 months. Like, I know he was meant to have the title opportunity at WrestleMania, but that didn't happen. More than 18 months. What am I on about? Like 2 years nearly, it feels like. And he is red hot. People don't even know if he's a heel right now, but they're talking about him. They're talking about those sodden teeth. And he is in that match to win the World Championship and do that by pinning Braun Strowman so they can protect the Fiend, like you say, eventually build to that one-on-one match, in my opinion. Final question today comes from Chris 2, who says, hi guys, now that the Thunderdome is fully up and running with fans being almost live, how can you see the wrestlers using them to their advantage? Promos still get cut to camera rather than to the crowd. We saw Drew McIntyre getting everyone to do a thumbs up, of course, on Monday Night Raw. Do you see any more of that sort of thing?
Not really. I think WWE is so damn set in their ways that there's kind of precedent for them just continuing to do what they do. I think things will continue as normal. You might see the odd break here and there where Drew goes, hey, do a thumbs up. You might see a few bits and pieces here and there, but I don't think there'll be any significance. WWE is fundamentally incapable of changing its method of presentation, and I don't think it will.
Kevin Dunn, if you're watching, you're not. But anyway, we don't need the cuts to the crowd like you would normally do. And on occasion, it's nice, and maybe make sure you have the shot first rather than just cutting to someone looking like a potato in their bedroom, not reacting to some segment. It's rubbish when they do that at the moment. It's just pixelated crap. And if I wanted to do that, I'd do a video with Adam Cleary. So it's what you need to do is just change the way you're thinking about that sort of thing.
He's got bad internet, that's the joke.
He's got, right, okay. Let's move on to today's, and finally, we've showcased many dodgy WWE toys, not many AEW ones, but shout out to our friends over at WrestleMania, loads of people tagging us in this. This AEW Cody Rhodes toy, as they put it, put on a few pounds lately.
Yeah. Nice Harley race you've got there, Cody. Jesus.
I think Cody would almost like this. I think he'd see it as a compliment.
Yeah, he's the kind of guy who would have a good laugh at that. But bloody hell, you can imagine someone going, "Oh, this Cody's a bit bloated. What happened here?"
I want to know, because they can see the Kenny Omega box next year. I want to know who's in that one. Let us know your thoughts.
Brian Pillman, like Terry Gordy, that's who it'll be. Just ridiculous.
Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And subscribe to What Culture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast from for daily wrestling podcast. Myself and Michael Hamflett looking ahead to tonight's NXT featuring my best friend Stu Bennett, aka Wade Barrett. You can also let us know your thoughts and Twitter questions on Twitter at WhatCultureWWE. Watch there. Follow both of us. You can follow Andy Murray at
Andy H. Murray. The H stands for Henrik Larsson.
Celtic, if you like that. If you get that reference, What Culture Football, you know what to do. You can follow me on Twitter at Adam Wilborn. Follow us all at What Culture WWE. But for now, my thanks to Andy Murray. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.